But anyway, we won't get into it. But hey, I'm healthier for it, right? The Miranda, I've been in there a million times, that building there. They built that right around the time there was a housing crisis and like the bubble, whatever it was. A housing bubble or what have you, and a whole bunch of people were able to buy units on auction. So I had clients who bought their homes on auction for cheaper than maybe they would have, or at least they gave that illusion. This is Commerce Street, which goes back there towards Trader Joe's. I guess that's considered a street. Yeah, I guess that goes all the way out to 22nd. And a lot of people who moved in here when the building was brand new lived in the St. James on 8th and Chestnut for a while until their units were ready. So anyway, we're going up here to market, so there's usually a lot more activity up here. Fire engines, just for me, right? So these fire engines go off a lot. They know it's a show. So, if you live here, you would hear this a lot. And between 2011 and 2018, those fire engines came out so many times, it was ridiculous. It's like, could there be that many fire engines? So, he was told to do that. Anyway, I forget the number. I'm told ladder 9. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to look it up again. But I used to walk a couple dogs in that building, and that fire engine would be pulling out like 90% of the time. I can't tell you how many times that thing goes off. I guess it still goes off that much, but back in the day, it's like, are you kidding? Another fire emergency? Are you kidding? 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 So I started to wonder. This weird thing happened where there's a Salvation Army just kind of next door to the fire. It used to be a Salvation Army. Next door to the fire station, there was a parking lot and Salvation Army. And it collapsed, you know, and it was treated like the World Trade Center towers. So it collapsed. Someone was smoking pot, I guess, and was on staff to, they were supposed to demolish like part of the building, and the Salvation Army was like right next door. Like, anyway, it all collapsed in, like one or two people died. I forget how that, anyway, a client of mine who lived in the Murano on the 15th floor, they want me to say 1504. That's not the exact address, but that's okay. That's what I was told to say. Anyway, he and his wife, and they now have like kids and everything, had a unit that curves all the way around the, building, like, and faces west-ish, if you will. And he texted really quick saying, by any chance, can you check in on the dogs, like, for 3 visits today? Like, it was like all of a sudden, at the same time as the Salvation Army had been demolished. I didn't know that it caved in and, you know, crumbled down on people. And I come over to take care of his dogs, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, what's all this activity? So I go up to take care of the dogs. I look out the window, and all the firefighters look like bumblebees all huddled together. It struck me that they were part of a beehive. I was like, this looks like maybe what they are referring to as the beehive. Because I kept getting this reference of beehives. Like, you don't want to, there's the girl who kicked the hornet's nest. There's a movie about that. You don't want to be the empowered woman who winds up kicking the shins of, say, abusive men, you know? Because they'll come back on you hard. So I was like, that's the hive. That's part of that's like a little bee colony. They were all hunched over, these guys trying to dig through the rubble. And this is not a pejorative. I just was like amazed that this came up. But they're all hunched over in a circle with their jackets on, with the, you know, the reflective tape. You know how there's like stripes. They're striped long jackets, their helmets, and just picture that in a way they could look like a bunch of bees in a beehive. So she's puppeted. I was wondering, she was a star. I just saw someone who, you know, it's hard to explain. There are people who do things and they might not match up with what's totally correct to do, like say at a Starbucks or whatever. They could be puppeted and or brainwashed to behave in a way that's not the right response. Go under or Pickwell, Picwll, Independence Blue Cross. So anyway, that's what I would learn that day, and I was like, I wonder if some people see them as a beehive. You know, I come from a very small family, nobody's huddled together, you know, all grouped together. So then you have people who have expansive families, like they could have a reunion at a conference center, you know. So, and it's like, oh, in a way they all sort of, even if they don't all get along in everyday life, they would band together and stick up for their own. You know what I mean? Like, that's human nature. We know our own people, if you will, regardless of what you look like. So it's just the way it is. Like, yeah, it's normal. Are we going straight? You know, ADHD. So that's all Market Street down there. I'm on Market now, but that's sort of the western side. And that's the eastern side leading up to City Hall, but still all of this is west of City Hall. So if City Hall were like the center mark on Broad Street, we're all west of City Hall right now. So I'm sort of experiencing a little bit of a stress eating. I'm not overeating for certain. You know, I don't want to spend a lot of money on food as it is, but it's more like everybody has that feeling like, oh, I really want a cold, you know, even if it's healthy, Zevia, Hansen soda, or in my case, I really wanted ice plus caffeine lately. It's in the stress realm of, there's bad vibes in my apartment building, and that's all I want to do, and that contributes to people's inability to eat like God intended, if you will. So if you're in a really good situation, incredibly busy, your gas tank is filled with love, relationships, you know, the right amount of money to be able to live comfortably, and you're satisfied, you know, then everything's okay, and you don't feel like you need to binge on, you know, whatever, ice plus caffeine, blue raspberry. Other people, it would be beer or what have you, or sodas in general. Those are technically, they're addictions, but they're there because if the vibes are bad in your surroundings, you seek out anything to medicate yourself. And even foods are medication. So people are addicted to brisket. They have to have certain things, you know, on Thanksgiving, or, you know, they're addicted to bread. Is an addiction big time. And it's just the yeast, the technical sugar, and glucose and all that stuff, sucrose, all of it, you know, is a way to medicate oneself, shove down something that's making you upset, something that's not working in your life. I don't know, you know, it's incredibly rare to have a perfectly balanced